What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Kind of Funny Gamescast for Friday, April 4th, 2024. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside Forbes 30 Under 30, a.k.a. New York Game Awards nominated, a.k.a. Donkey Kong Poppy. Blessing Eddie Oye Jr.
Good
What?
day, Greg. It's on the shirt.
He's only wearing the shirt. In the Gamescast, he was way more positive than Tim was.
Okay.
Yeah, embarrassing. Some fake ass Nintendo
Oh,
crazy.
I think Barrett's wanting on behalf of himself.
Yeah, on my. Yeah.
But I'm giving Barrett the reasons I just called him.
Got it.
I get it. I understand the reasoning.
Just
I'm
making
still
sure.
very upset by it, Greg, and I will never
understand.
forget this.
I'm very happy that Andy fixed this for me. I came in like a little kid. I'm like, Dad, the game no look good on this. Can you make it look good? And he did it. He did I can't believe it, Andy. He's talented over there. Of course, he's Forbes 30 Under 30, a.k.a. the second best baby blues in San Francisco, a.k.a. Dead Man Walking at Tim Geddes.
Let Tim host.
How's it feel? Farewell tour still going.
Going.
And we are taking it on the road, everybody. Come to the first and only farewell tour stop in Chicago, Illinois, this Thursday, April 10th. Get your ticket, kindoffunny.com/Chicago. You can get your photo with me, of course, but also I'm going to leave the Stars in the Bank briefcase at the meet and greets. So you can just take photos. I'm going to leave a Sharpie and a bunch of paper so you can write hate mail to Tim that I will then put into the briefcase that I will then bring back. And as I continue to torment him, I will read those pieces to him.
That's nice. That's
You're
beautiful.
going to read them to me.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that
Yeah.
earlier.
From now on, when I interrupt,
okay.
I'll come out and open it up
Okay.
and I'll read one of the hate mails.
Oh,
That's the hate
great.
mails I got.
I'm sure everyone's going to be very, very...
We're not doing it at a public place. It's a ticketed event.
Yeah.
It'll be on Target, right?
Oh, so they get
Tim
to
has
pay
small
for it,
PP.
yeah.
They know what to write.
Tim has small PP. Yep.
And of course, rounding out our quartet, it's the taste maker, Roger Picorni.
I think I'm joining you guys and becoming the Donkey Kong Bros. You know what I
Whoa.
mean? Do you have room?
Welcome.
Do you have room?
Welcome.
Are you part of this?
There's
I thought it was
no-
just
there's
a.
Well,
not in
the
this
irony
show.
of all this
I don't
is...
think you're part of this anymore.
Well, I don't want to talk too much
Tim,
about
were you a
welcome,
part of
Roger.
Donktober, Tim? I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
want to talk,
crazy.
like, here's the thing. At the end of the day, I will welcome everybody to the Nintendo communities. I ain't trying to gatekeep at all. All I'm going to say is this man right here, he's a Donkey Kong 64 boy. That's it.
Nah. The original round when I'm playing as Jumpman, I taught somebody
This
about
one, you don't
Jumpman
even know.
yesterday.
Yeah,
don't
you were
even know.
playing Mario versus Donkey Kong. I'm turning on you now.
I mean,
You're out.
who was? You know, who was playing Mario versus Donkey Kong? I played Donkey Kong.
You know
Country.
what? You know what? I'll settle for Roger being Donkey Kong Poppy. You know, like
I might be.
maybe.
I
And
might
he's not
be.
played one Donkey Kong. Except
Mario
for the
versus
one
Donkey Kong.
Mario versus Donkey
That's half
Kong,
a
you know?
Donkey Kong. I said one.
Kong.
And I
played
played
the remake. That counts as one.
Yeah, half and half.
Half and half.
I played
I'm with
DK
Roger
Country
on
on my
this.
Game Boy Color. All right.
Did you finish it?
Get on my level. No, nobody finished it. It was fucking difficult. That game
I
was
finished
so
it.
hard.
These three gentlemen just came back from New York City where they played the Nintendo Switch 2 hands-on. They played a bunch of different games. They were in a weird presentation. They have so many stories to talk about, and that's what we're going to tackle today because this is the Kind of Funny Gamescast. Each and every weekday, we run you through the biggest topics in video games, whether they be reviews, previews, or things we need to talk about. If you like that, pick up a Kind of Funny membership, of course, over on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, patreon.com/kindoffunny, Apple and Spotify. You can give us $10 a month and get 80 episodes of content ad-free, and of course, get your daily dose of me, Greg Miller, in a series we call Gregway, where I vlog/podcast to you each and every day. No bucks to toss our way, no big deal. You could be watching live as we record this for free on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, and listening on podcast services around the globe. No matter where you get the show, consider like, subscribe, sharing, hitting that bell, hitting the follow, the sub button, and remembering, of course, that if you have Amazon Prime, you have Twitch Prime. Andy was off to the side. I thought he was going to run in and sing. What else is up, Andy?
I just wanted to congratulate the team on a fucking awesome week of
Thank you.
content.
Me
Like
too.
it was so good. Listen to all the podcasts. I was already obviously so stoked for the Switch 2, but hearing you all explain it in awesome detail, it fucking rocked. Content was great.
And
Shout
now
out
the
to you all.
pre-order delay is going to make you more excited, right?
Yeah, I can't wait for that price. But I clicked like on those videos.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
very cool.
Wow,
Yeah,
you never do
That's
that.
very cool.
He usually
like.
hits dislike.
And hey, likewise, Andy, I watched the entire reaction you guys did. Fantastic job back home. Loved it. Andy, appreciate you bringing the hype for stuff. That was real good. Greg, you could do better.
I understand. I'm just, I'm not a child. I don't want these
hate you
child
so
games. I
much.
play real games like Game Showdown.
People were asking, why didn't we send Greg out there?
Before we get, first off, fuck you. I would have been great. I had a lot of fun. I know you're giving me a hard time. But no, yeah, I echo all of that. Of course, I was going to say something the same way. I know on Games Daily, Tim got choked up talking about how proud of Roger and Bless and the entire team he was. Same for us back home. You know what I mean? See, you guys out there, that's great. And you're doing the thing. But then when I was talking to Tim that night, putting Ben down, he's like, Roger is still cooking right now. And like, it's amazing. And I think then waking up in the morning and looking at all the thumbnails, all the things, 30-minute conversations about everything, and listening to them all in the car and going through. I was like, damn. And then watching, of course, it was that proud papa moment, right? Of like what we've built here. Of I'm in the car, and so I hit Spotify and I'm like, oh, it's playing the video, right? Because we do that. And then it's like, oh, Roger put in B-roll to all these things. Like there's actually things out there explaining. Just fantastic conversations, great content, everything else.
Hell yeah.
Thank you.
But I'm excited to hear all about that here. If you want to be part of the show as we go and ask questions to 3 people who have played the Nintendo Switch and 1 person who's going to get 3 stars at his will, go ahead and get in your YouTube Super Chats, youtube.com/kindafunnygames to Super Chat. Housekeeping for you. We're an 11-person small business all about live talk shows. If you haven't been paying attention, Kinda Funny Games Daily kicked off your programming day and was all about the Trump tariffs putting the Nintendo Switch 2 pre-order date in the US way back. We'll find out when we get that another day. And then remember, it's happened. Chris Anka and his mustache are here. The crew are doing a big marathon Call of Duty Warzone stream after this, where they are going to drop into Verdansk and have fun / hate each other. If you're a Kinda Funny member, today's Greg Way is 16 minutes of me wanting to live in precedented times. I'm sick of unprecedented times. And then I wrote, fuck, this shit sucks. Roger listened to it. And even though it's very raw and I scream many times in it and I'm very angry, Roger's like, no, this is okay.
Good stuff.
It was okay.
Thank you to our Patreon producers, Anatoly Ast, Delaney Twining, Carl Jacobs, and Omega Buster. Today we're brought to you by Lost Skies, Monaco 2, and Rocket Money. We'll talk to you about that later. For now, let's begin with what is and forever will be topic of the show. The title is simple. Everything we played at the Switch 2 New York City event. There are plenty of previews, like I said, up right now. Go listen to these, Gamescast these. But I also want to know the juice of what was happening behind the scenes, Tim.
Just real quick, I want to say we have deep dive conversations that you can listen to right now about Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, Mario Kart World, all of the Nintendo GameCube games we got to play, which includes Super Mario Strikers, Zelda Wind Waker, Soul Calibur 2, and F-Zero GX. And our impressions of the hardware overall, like getting to hold it, play it in mouse mode, the Pro Controller, everything, the screen quality, all of that stuff. And what am I missing? Any?
Donkey Kong.
And Donkey
Kong.
Kong.
He always forgets
This
Donkey
fucking
Kong.
hater,
Donkey Kong, Banana Rama Ding Dong, like something like that.
Bonanza.
And that too.
Bonanza
Bonanza, everyone.
with no O's.
So yeah, if you want like deeper dives, please go listen to all of
Yes.
those.
But you did this on Games Daily, and I think it's worth going here again, Tim. Talk to me about the planning and the hurdles to the normal content that were placed in front of us and how you guys overcame.
Yeah, to try to say this briefly, because like there's many elements to it. We went to me, Roger, and Bless went to New York to get hands-on with the Nintendo Switch 2. That meant we had to watch the Nintendo Direct at the event venue because we got to play immediately after the Direct ended. So we were not able to do our traditional Direct reactions. And even though we tried, I pitched them, what if we just did it at the hotel? And then came later, they're like, sorry, you can't do that. I was like, what if we just did the reactions literally while we were there, like have the cameras and just like kind of be cool and edit that together later? They're like, maybe. And then they said no. And then I literally begged them to allow us to do that. And they said, sorry, no. But I want it clear. I literally begged them.
This man tried.
I said, please, in all caps, let us do this. It's
Can't
really
beg more
important.
than that, Raj.
But like, I mean, in a professional email, you know what I mean?
for sure.
Like I actually did that, and they did not let us do that. So, and on top of that, they were. This is the most secretive event that I've ever been a part of when it comes to video games, and they were like, you cannot say that you're traveling, you cannot say you're in New York, you cannot say you're at this event, and because of that, it created a really weird situation for us where we weren't able to say. Why we weren't, or that we weren't going to be there, or any of that stuff, and it was real convenient. Right,
Yeah,
Craig?
maybe someone capitalized
It
on
wasn't
it.
weird for me. You know what I mean? I called it like it was. I just told everybody exactly what was happening. You know, you're a coward. I called my shot, and it was very simple of when it was, and you didn't want to show up. You know what I mean? That's fucked up. That's fucked up from somebody who's trying to claim they deserve all these stars.
The irony of all of this is that you could say, oh, who's the bad guy? Oh, Nintendo for doing all this. No, Nintendo's a business with its business needs. They're trying to get things done. There's one bad guy here, And I'm not saying he's not sitting at this table. You know what I mean? But anyways, that's kind of that. Is there anything else? Am I missing something there?
No, that was about it. I
Okay,
think,
cool. So because of that, we got to spend an entire day playing the Nintendo Switch 2. It was an obnoxious amount of gameplay, right, Bless?
Oh, it was so much gameplay. How many hours did they even let? Because it felt
We
like there was
didn't even
no-
take it all.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
it felt like there was no time where they were like, "Get out of here."
Yeah.
No.
Like we just got tired and left after a
Yeah.
certain while.
Yeah, because we did everything that we didn't do it all. There was a couple
Yeah.
things, a couple mistakes we made just to let people know. We played Mario Party Jamboree. And I can't wait to talk about that because we haven't had the chance yet because we got to play with the camera a lot. But I didn't realize that there was a separate demo station for the mouse mode games
yes, there was.
for Mario Party. So we missed that. I've been, of course, watching a ton of coverage from other outlets of seeing like what other people think. And then also we missed the
Nintendo
the welcome tour.
which
Yeah.
was
It's calculated
hilarious.
on us,
It was-
part.
on me and Roger.
Not
part,
all of us.
It was calculated. To, like we got back to the hotel to record content, and Tim was like, "Oh yeah, crazy that they didn't have welcome tour." And me and Roger was like, "Oh no, they did." Like me and Roger at one point looked at welcome tour, and I was like, "Nah."
And I'm so bummed.
The funniest thing about it is that Bless and I didn't even say a word to each other. We just looked at each other and then we were just like, "Oh, the GameCube's right next to us."
yeah, I was like, "Yo, Roger, you can play Yakuza 0.
You
I'll play
didn't take your
Cyberpunk."
one chance to play that game because there's no way you're gonna pay for it.
Yeah, that's so
It's
true.
gonna cost
Hashtag will be
$50
interesting on
now.
that one,
And to me, I similar but different. I didn't see it. I just got so distracted by the GameCube. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
right
saw the
next to it.
GameCube and I was like, I gotta go there. And speaking of that, real quick, this is going to be a semi-disorganized Gamescast. Just
have your
because,
fun.
just 'cause
Yeah,
we're
roll
talking
with
about
it.
a lot of things. So we're talking about our
Friday.
hands-on with the games, but we're also just like this is an opportunity to talk about the direct itself,
Yeah.
right? Because we were in the room. Like Doug Bowser was there. Doug Bowser.
So stop full,
Yeah.
because this is something even I don't know. Because of course you had to go to the street to film your reactions and act like you didn't know where you were.
Exactly. Sorry, real quick, just that's one other thing I want to say is like literally they wouldn't even let us shoot in the building. We had to leave to be able to post that video on the same day. So
What?
very secretive.
You keep saying you're in the room. Was it a hotel ballroom? What was it? An actual theater? Where did you watch the direct?
It's an event space that is the same event space that the Nintendo Switch 2 experience that fans that got the ticketed events lottery stuff are going to be able to do.
Yeah, but it was at a different area of that. I don't think that area is even people can go into it. Yeah, that's like it was like a media space type thing. So it had like 3 big screens, and we were on the left side most, and then they had like a little stage in the middle where Doug Bowser came out and talked about stuff.
We were sitting with a ton of people.
Yeah.
We had Gene Park right behind us, and we had Jeff Keighley 3 seats down behind us.
Man, he can't catch a break. Kind of funny. He's always in front of
He
him.
really, really can't. God, I hit him with some energy in the beginning of the morning that I don't
not
think
ready
he was
for it?
prepared
Yeah.
for.
It was not that bad.
It wasn't bad.
No.
No,
Yeah.
You and Mike, you got to stop hitting him with peak energy. You got to come at him like you're tired.
Nah, bless.
He's
nah.
like- he's-
I'm not hitting him like Mike does, but like I'm gonna be me. He likes me. I know he likes me.
Sure,
I don't know,
sure.
man.
Same thing
Yeah.
Mike says. Same thing Mike says.
It's like when
You go to Statue of Liberty?
Yeah, nah.
Quick question, just because Doug Bowser was in the building, did he eat a Switch Live?
I did see him go out and eat something. So yeah, he might have,
I missed that.
He might have
Okay.
eaten a Switch. He might have eaten a Switch.
For me, Jeff Keighley is like when you go to a friend's house and they have a cat versus if they have a dog.
Yes.
Ah.
You know what I mean? Where it's like,
You let the cat come to you.
yes.
Yep.
Like cats will respect you if they think you're cool.
Yeah.
And so you just got to
Yeah.
allow
That's
Jeff
well
Keighley to
known.
think
That's
you're cool.
well
He
known.
kind of did come to us.
No, he had to go past us
you
because
were
he
in the
entered
line.
the building.
Yeah, but
Actually, he wasn't going to ignore us.
Well, he 100% could have just ignored us.
No, because that would be weird. Then it's like, oh, he really does hate us. But he doesn't hate us.
He looked at us. He engaged us.
He would have ignored us. I saw the energy. He
No,
would have ignored
no,
us.
God,
He
you
had-
guys step it up.
he had the earbuds in. He didn't want to be
Act like
talked
you've
to.
been here before. My God. But yeah, anyways, Jeff Keighley was there, and that was cool. But Doug Bowser was there, and
How
that,
many people were there?
hundreds,
Okay.
hundreds of people, all press, for the day we were there, it was all games press, or just press in general, I guess.
And the next
then
day-
the next day was all influencers and like
Gotcha.
celebrities and Bowen Yang and stuff. And
MKBHD.
Bowen Yang, also a celebrity, also an influencer. But anyways, so we got to all watch the direct live as it happened with everybody. So that was cool. Not an ideal situation. Definitely not the best seating situation because we're all on the same level. So
Yeah.
we saw a lot of heads. So we couldn't see any subtitles or any information at the bottom
We were
of
in
the
like the
screen.
second to last row.
Yeah,
which
I was getting up at certain points. I was just like,
Oh, yeah.
I need to know the answer.
What was the vibe in the room? Were people popping off, clapping, cheering?
for it,
okay,
Raj.
the vibe was like chill. I mean, there were moments where people were like, whoa, but it was not like screaming or anything. There was one moment where somebody, I won't say names, where maybe a GameCube logo came out, and then you just hear, oh my my god! Just the loudest, like way louder than everybody else, and like people looked.
Hey, man.
But hey, I
Hey,
won't say
man,
who.
yeah.
I won't say who.
I can't control myself sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was pop-off moments. I will say I probably was the individual that popped off the most and the loudest.
Yeah.
But I don't regret anything. But the biggest pop-off...
So I'm assuming Hip Hop Gamer wasn't there because
He wasn't.
No.
he would have been right there
He would
with
have been
you.
influencer.
Bless and I were looking.
I was like, where's Hip Hop Gamer?
But there was a couple pop-off moments during the Direct. I think the biggest one was GameCube.
Yeah.
The second biggest one was Moo Moo in Mario Kart.
yeah, of course.
Everyone lost their mind.
Yeah, you get
That
it,
was
Tim.
huge. Yeah, right.
And the third biggest one was when they announced that Welcome Tour was a paid product.
Yes.
That was people laughed.
It was awkward.
People laughed in the area. It was great.
It was hilarious.
Deservedly so.
Yeah.
Sorry,
that,
Doug.
That was kind of great. But otherwise, we had a great time watching it. Like it was fun watching it with other people like that.
Yeah.
I wish the energy was a little different than it was, but like it's that weird kind of mix of things. But
Yeah.
what did you think, Bless?
I mean, I thought it was a fucking awesome time, right? I mean, I echo every single thing that you said.
I forget in your guys' reactions, did you rate it? I listened, but
No,
it's
I don't think we gave it a
much.
score.
You guys should score it too, but go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've had much to say. I would say the other pop-off, maybe this might have just been a me thing, was Donkey Kong Bonanza. Just out of the pure unbelief, the disbelief that there was another 3D Donkey Kong game that was being announced and released. And so that for me was probably the biggest pop. And then also just the confusion of Dustblood.
Air Riders too.
Oh,
Air Riders.
got
There was
people.
an era about Air Riders.
Air
right? Of,
Riders got people.
It was the moment of, oh shit, is this Smash? And then just I see Tim, just like his eyes, just like, wait, is this happening? This is happening. Yeah, that was great.
For me, the moment was, Dustblood. Because that was the one of murmurs at the beginning of the thing. I think us three being like, is it Castlevania? Is it
Resident Evil
Castlevania?
9?
Yeah, Tim was like, is it Resident Evil 9? I'm like, it might be Castlevania. And then you get the From Software logo. And then slowly, it is the thing.
It's Bloodborne. It's Bloodborne 2. It's
Yeah.
Bloodborne 2. Like literally, like that probably was, I think, the most
It was like the most-
sound in the room of people
Just
talking.
murmurs of
like,
people not believing or not understanding what this is. Me turning around in Gene Park because I'm like, this is Bloodborne, right? And I'm looking back at Gene Park as somebody who's played Bloodborne. I'm like, is this Bloodborne 2? This is Bloodborne 2, right? And all of us being like, what the fuck is happening? And then getting Dustbloods and being like, and seeing them in the Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive thing, and being like, yo, what the fuck is happening? So yeah, overall, and really cool time for me because, like I mentioned during KFGD, I've not been to an event like that before, right? Where I'm like seeing the debut of a console and like what that looks like in a room with full media, right? 200 other media people, and seeing the balance of everybody trying to play cool and be respectful and be quiet about it, but then also us being trying.
I did try.
And then us being the reaction guys, right?
You did good.
So
You did good.
it was a fun time.
Imagine if they let you film yourselves, how much
Aw,
worse it would have been.
dude.
No, but that's the thing. Honestly, if anything, I think that this was proof that like it's not for the camera. You know what I mean?
No, it's not.
It was like sure, mate. No, fuck that. It's not for the camera. Like you guys can attest to it. Tim Geddes was Tim Geddesing there. And yeah, a big moment for me was Kirby's Air Riders, which like when it looked like Smash, obviously I was like, oh my God, we're getting Smash. This is insane. But Kirby was on that star for a little too long, and I twisted. I'm like, it's fucking Air Riders. Oh my God, it's Kirby's Air Ride. Oh my God. And then when it was, I lost my shit. Like I can't believe we're getting that game, dude. It's about to be awesome, and I can't wait for people to be able to play this for the first time because it's special.
I'm excited.
So walk me through. You guys you watch the Direct, then run outside. Does everybody else immediately go play games? Is there a mingle hour? What happens, and how do we transition?
Yeah,
over
we
to
are
playing?
immediately taken to the area to play the games, right? And that was a big thing for us. We were a little bit nervous. We're like, what are we going to play, right? We know it's a big experience. Me and Tim were debating. We were like, Tim was like, no, we're going to play everything. Like, they have to. It's a big deal. Like, they're everyone's flying up here. This is a big deal. And then I was like, I don't know, man. Like, what if we don't? Because you were telling me about a story back in the day where you only got to play, Mario Kart?
Well,
Or no, you didn't even get to play Mario Kart.
I was saying we're not going to play everything, but I was saying
okay,
we're
my
going to
bad.
play a lot of things.
Yeah.
Because I've now been at the Wii U event for this same thing and the Switch 1 event, and both of those did not feature all the games that they showed. And I think the best example for y'all to understand, because I feel like the majority of our audience was there for the Switch 1 generation. The Switch 1 Direct had Mario Kart, had Mario Odyssey, all that. We didn't get to play Mario Kart or Odyssey at that event. We got to play Breath of the Wild and Fast Racing Remix and 1-2 Switch and the Puyo Puyo Tetris game. It was things like that, right? Super Bomberman R. But yeah, like this when we got in even before, we didn't know. So like us planning like how we're gonna cover this, like it was very much a let's prepare for the most, but expect the least.
Yeah, so then we walk in, and I was expecting have a little bit of time to like set up the camera, like the fancy camera to make it all happen, and then we get in there, and it's first of all, it's only Mario Kart, right? We walk in, and they have
Room
like
full of like dozens of Mario Kart
yeah,
kiosks.
they have a few like stations to like hold the Nintendo Switch,
Yeah.
but then it's just all Mario Karts. And then we immediately were like, okay, we're not setting up the camera. We just get the little mini DJI pocket camera and like let's just go. Let's just play Mario Kart. But it was a fear of like, are we gonna play anything else? Like, is this just the room and then we're just gonna
It was
be
a
playing
jump
Mario
scare
Kart all
room.
day? Yeah, it was scary.
So yeah, we get in there and then
And I was gonna say before which version of Mario Kart do you play? Because you talked
Plus we'll
about
get
playing
into it.
modes. Okay.
yeah, so we start off and we play is Mario Kart World. It is there's a Switch 2 handheld that is in front of the TV, and they give us the handheld and they're like, play this first and then you'll play on the TV, right? Is that was it? Yeah, play this first and then you'll play on the TV. It is one Grand Prix race that we play.
Nice.
And it was an awkward thing at first because like I think me and Tim were supposed to split up, but because we wanted to stick together, we're like, all right, we just want to go together, which caused a hubbub, but finally we got to a station together. I played first, and then they were like, all right, go upstairs. But then we're like, no, but Tim needs to play. Like, Tim wants to play.
It was,
Yeah, and they're looking at me. They're like, "You play?" I'm like, "No, I'm recording. I
I'm
don't want
just
to
the
play."
cameraman. I'm just
it
the
was
cook.
one of those things where like we don't need to get too into it, but just like to set the stage here, it was an overly organized event
Yes.
where they had way too many, like every single controller had a demo person attached to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the demo people were not allowed to say anything. So if you asked them any question, it was like, go to Nintendo.com.
That's
and
hilarious.
it's like, but also they were
Can you be a human being?
way-
Where's the bathroom?
they were way too hands-on with like
I
every
hate that.
single
Yeah,
thing
I
you're
hate
doing.
that.
And
It's a super
it's like,
controlled
oh my
environment.
God.
Super duper controlled.
So it was kind of rough, and we got caught immediately with just like a misunderstanding of what we were doing. Like one guy was trying to be helpful to us of like, oh, cool, they're a group of 3. He's just filming. Them 2 were going to play. Put them at one station so they can play together. And instead, they messed that up. And so it was a little confusion. Doesn't matter. We both got to play one Grand Prix race. And
it was fun, right? It was one of those things where I played it and I was like, man, I hope they let us play more Mario Kart because that wasn't enough based on just from one race, how much is going on. New items, a gigantic character list, right? Like different ways of doing certain things where you're not putting together the different carts. Instead, you're just picking from a list of carts and going that way. But from my first impression, super cool to hold the thing.
My question for you there was, I've listened to your Mario Kart World impressions, of course, like I have everything else because I needed to know. But it seemed like if you would have walked away right there, would it have just, it's more Mario Kart? Because that was your fear coming in, right?
Yeah. No, if I had walked away right there, I would have been upset of that was not nearly enough to play of this game.
Sure.
Not that because it was more Mario Kart. More so, it was just a taste of, oh shit, no, there's a lot going on here, and I just need to dig in more. Like I need more time with this thing.
Sure.
I think a good idea for this would be like, let's work through just like how the day worked, and then we can kind of get back into the details because like it was the experience. I wish they told us a little bit more because I think we would have appreciated more and been able to take it in a different way. But what we got ended up being really freaking awesome.
Yeah. So as you said, Blessing, you're like, man, I wish I could play more of Mario Kart. Well, they got you covered because we walk upstairs and we're like, okay,
Room 2.
Room
What's it
2.
gonna
Let's see what
be?
it is. All Mario Kart.
Another room of all Mario Kart.
All you can see is Mario Kart, and it was the Mario Kart Knockout, right?
Knockout
Yeah,
tour.
the Knockout Tour, which was cool, but it was like, oh shit, this might actually be just
Mario Kart. Yeah. So we played a round of Knockout, which is 24 racers.
Sounds fucking awesome.
And
So cool.
it was freaking awesome. Again, we'll get more into detail later, but like this was definitely like, oh, this is what this game is, because not only did we play knockout mode, before it, you're in the lobby, and that was our first taste of the free open world mode, where you're just kind of like racing around till the 24 racers are ready. And then we got to go in. I got second place, which wasn't good enough for me. You know
Yeah,
what
I was
mean?
doing so good for most of the race. Did you post when I was doing good? Did you put? Have we put out? gameplay
It's
footage
in
yet?
the Mario Kart video. I think
Okay,
I
good.
would go back and forth between it.
Because
Yeah.
there was like certain sections where I was in first place where I was like, I'm having the time of my life right here. Yeah.
I love that you want me to post just the moments you're doing good.
Because there was
Not
a
when you
sick
got
ass
knocked
thing
out.
where I did where I jumped off a ramp and then I
That
landed
was
on
sick.
an enemy and then you
That was
caught
sick.
that, right?
I caught that shit.
So yeah, Knockout Tour was such a cool thing because you hop into it, you start off in the lobby before where people are populating in. It is the open world thing that Tim's talking about, and once everybody's populated in, I think I forget if we chose Grand Prix shit. There was like a selection process of what like Grand Prix or course you want to do, and then after that, they then show you a screen of like all right, this is like the path that you're gonna go. And then it puts us into the thing. And I think Tim described it the best, where it's kind of like the Marvel Secret Wars Battle World, where they take a bunch of Mario Kart courses and just mash them together, and you're driving from one end to the other, and it is just a way longer race than you get out of a standard Mario Kart race, right? So it is
15 minutes.
Yeah, 15 minutes of just racing, and it is with every interval you get to. If you're under a certain place, you get knocked out.
So cool.
If you played Burnout Eliminator, it's kind of like that.
And so because of that, every moment feels like that final lap of a Mario Kart game where you're racing back and forth between first and second, and there's that dynamic of getting the items and strategy of where you're going to use them, but it's the entire time. And the chaos of 24 racers is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And it just it is thrilling, man.
Yeah.
And it changes Mario Kart in such a necessary way to stand apart from a franchise, and specifically Mario Kart 8 that we're so familiar with. And with how good that game feels, this game feels just that good.
Yeah,
awesome.
Starts super chaotic, and then as you get toward the last laps of the race, gets really dialed in. Where I forget how many people were in that last stretch.
I think it's just 4?
Is it
it's
just
either
2?
4 or 2.
Yeah, somewhere around that.
I think it's 4.
I think it's 4.
I wouldn't know because I was never third or fourth.
All right,
then I'll say it's
come
4
on.
because I think I got
But
knocked
can
out.
you ever beat Logan Plant, you think?
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. I didn't beat him, but later I did go back and get first place.
Yeah, I know, but he wasn't there. So
He wasn't
it's
there.
kind of a hollow
He wasn't
victory.
there.
Yeah, when I got knocked out, I think it was the 4, and so I think it dials into just those last 4 for that last stretch, and it is just this race of it's me versus the best people now. I need to get to the finish line.
Riveting.
It
as
was
a viewer.
really fun.
I didn't even get hands on, but I was so excited watching because it was the moments of it changes 8th place now gets knocked out, and then you're at 8th, you're at 7th, right?
Yeah.
It just kept on going the entire time. Even when you were in first, sometimes you would drop down. It was always this back and forth.
And
back
for me,
forth.
that was the taste of, oh no, this is everything I want out of a new Mario Kart.
Hell yeah.
I can't
Hell
believe they
yeah.
found a way to not just make another Mario Kart, but something that feels more expansive and more special and more. I went from, okay, cool, I'm down for another Mario Kart to, oh fuck, I really need to play this Mario Kart.
Yeah.
This is something that's going to be really fun. And there's so much we could talk about as far as the new items, as far as, and you guys should check out the Gamescast that we did just about Mario Kart World. But
For me, it's you guys talk about in your thing. What got me stoked? I mean, beyond in general, this sounds awesome. But this open world, driving around, you kept saying it's a fully realized world of there's enemies, there's herds of things. And it's the idea of I said it on our reacts, and then you drove it home. I think on the one-on-one, Tim, was the idea of that's where you're gonna unlock so much stuff. And so just to drive around and explore is gonna be so much fun. Let alone that's what Ben loves in Forza. So to be able to do that with him,
I said this earlier to you. This is going to be Ben's favorite game. I really think that this is going to be, and I think that he is, by the time it comes out, going to be the right age to potentially. I think that in many years he'll remember this game.
I see what you
I
mean.
think that this is going to be his game.
Hell yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And it's so Forza. It even has the rewind button. which
Yes,
is crazy.
exactly. You hold down the D-pad and it brings you back. But so we now had 2 rooms of escalating Mario Kart experience, and that was awesome. And we could have played forever because it was that fun. But then they're all right, cool, move on to the 3rd room, and we're all right, what are we about to get
Who's the
now?
third man?
And Raj, what do we get?
We walk in and it's pretty much everything we expected, right? You walk in, we see the Metroid. We're okay, good. We see Hogwarts Legacy. We see Split Fiction. We see the third-party stuff, and we see the first-party stuff. And there was one missing, though. Bless.
Yeah.
Do you remember what that game was?
Donkey Kong Bonanza. We're where is Donkey Kong
Where the
Bonanza?
fuck is Donkey Kong Bonanza?
Yeah,
So
we're okay, it's not playable. All right,
yeah,
that's
we're
cool.
walking up and down. We're playing games, and then
And I wasn't
yeah.
surprised because,
Yeah.
I was saying, that it's filling the Mario Odyssey slot at the direct and stuff. I'm oh yeah, I
Sure.
really thought there was no chance we were playing Donkey
Same.
Kong.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
completely
So-
we bought into it immediately.
We were all right, cool.
Yeah.
This is what's here. So we beeline to Metroid. We're all right, what's the highest priority of a game that we should play for this? We've already played Mario Kart World. All right, next has got to be Metroid Prime 4. We found it in the back of the room. You can tell the way that they try to lay it out. It's
play all the other stuff.
Yeah,
I
we
yeah,
wouldn't-
play all
broke
the other
through it
stuff, and
immediately.
you're gonna pass through everything and then get to Metroid Prime 4. So we get there to
First.
yeah, we beeline, get to Metroid Prime because we're oh, for sure, we got to prioritize this. Play through it. It is the mouse Joy-Con setup, and just for inside baseball of trying to figure out how we're going to make content out of everything, right? Because it is the thing where we're all right, there's not direct feed, and so Roger's going to record me playing. Roger puts a microphone on me, and I think Tim and Roger are all right, just talk while you play, and maybe we'll figure it
Maybe
out.
we'll
if it's
figure it
gonna be
out,
Let's Play. But because it's Nintendo, there is a person stationed at every single game. There's so many game stations in this place.
so many people working this event.
And on
Yes.
top of that, another key thing that longtime watchers will know, but to reiterate, Nintendo will not allow direct feed capture. And in addition to that, when you are filming, they require it to be off screen, and they require, at the very least, your hands in the screen with the controller. But most times, they require a full shoulder in the shot, and you have to be zoomed out enough that it can't just be the screen. It's insane. So if anyone is looking at our videos, and I've seen a lot of comments, and they're like, "Why doesn't Roger zoom in?" We weren't allowed to.
I can't.
He legally can't.
Yeah, and there was
2007 E3 vibes are so bad.
There was so many times when I'm showing the shoulder, I'm doing the whole thing, and it's 15 minutes into a gameplay demo, and then the person who's watching the shoulder, my footage the entire time, they're like, actually step back a little bit, step back even more. I'm like, oh, we're almost done here. We're almost done here.
It gets also difficult for me as the person playing the game and trying to essentially record a Let's Play at the same time, where I start it, and then the person that's there is like, all right, so this is Metroid Prime 4.
And they're not mic'd up.
No.
Yeah, it was like so frustrating because like oftentimes, and I don't mean to complain about all this stuff, but it was just like, you see what we told you what we're doing? Like, why are you doing this to us right now?
And so yeah, it is them like basically chiming in at certain points that they're trained to of, all right, this is what the controls are here. This is what you should be doing. And like, it is like a very, again, controlled environment of, hey, we want to make sure that the people that are here to play the game know how to play the game and know all the buttons and all this stuff. And also they know how the mouse mode works. And so like, he's telling me that, and then I'm like, thank you. And then I start talking to myself, talking to myself while playing the game. And then sometimes he thinks that I'm talking to him, and I'm like, oh, just so you know, I'm recording a Let's Play, so I'm just going to be talking or whatever. Outside of all that, fucking fun ass experience playing Metroid Prime 4.
And I think that you can watch our breakdown for the full actual gameplay thing, but I think the most impressive thing I want to talk about is playing it. It's like, cool, it's in mouse mode. And so we pick it up, it's like, and I think both of our initial thoughts was like, I also want to kind of just play it in like non-mouse mode. And then we realized, oh, you just turn the Joy-Con and you're in non-mouse mode. There is no switching to mouse mode. There's no mouse mode. It just works that way if you have the control of that down, and that was shocking.
One of my favorite demo moments, right, was that of me being like, okay, so if I want to switch to just holding the Joy-Cons, can I do that? And he was like, pick it up. And I picked it up and it started controlling. I was like, this is fucking insane.
Also, Metroid, the only way we got to play it was 120 FPS 1080 on the TV. Looked great. It was 120 frames per second. That thing was smooth. And using the mouse, it was utterly shocking to play a Metroid Prime game that way. Like, it was kind of like a chill-inducing moment. Like, very cool.
So it was like a quick tutorial section and then a boss fight at the end of the demo. We get into it in the Gamescast episode about Metroid Prime 4, the recording we put up the other day. But we did that and then finished it. And then me and Roger were like, all right, let's look around some more. Let's figure out what we want to do next. And we start walking. And we see a little hall. We see like a path leading into a hallway, and we're like,
it's shaped like a banana.
And we're like, oh, what's over there?
Yeah, no one's there, by the way.
Nobody's
we
there.
should reiterate.
It looks
no
like the
one's
exit.
there. Yeah,
and we're like, oh, what's going on over here? And then we see more demo, like a bunch more demo units, and we're like, oh, what's going on over here? And we just see, as far as the eyes can see, Donkey Kong Bonanza. And we're like, are we allowed? Me and Roger were like, are we allowed to go over there? Like, nobody's here. It feels roped off. And then we asked one of the people, we're like, hey, is this available? Can we just play these? And they're like, yeah. You can
it was a little bit scary, right? Because you turn the corner and we felt like, should we be here? Because there were so many people working this event in this area that they were just kind of looking at us, right? Like, we were the first journalists. We were the first journalists.
We should have taken
meeting
pictures because it looked like, I don't know, it looked like an army of just Nintendo people just standing in front of the booths waiting for somebody to walk in.
Speaking of the army of Nintendo people, something that we didn't mention, but we need to mention, is that without fail, every single time anybody would enter or leave the building, there was lines of 20 people on each side, Nintendo people in red shirts, that would do the Jennifer Hudson walking down the hall thing of just all clapping and yelling and oh my God, it was very intense and unnecessary.
Just go to the bathroom.
My favorite is later in the day where we're like, all right, let's go grab some lunch. And we're trying to find the way to where they're serving food. And we go the wrong way and we accidentally enter the hallway where they're clapping. And they start clapping. And it's just me, Roger, and Tim just randomly like looking for a place. And we're like, oh, thank you. And then we get through and then we look at each other and we're like,
oh, it's the wrong way.
We're in the wrong place. We got to go back.
They
clap again?
And like, 5 seconds later, they clap again for us coming out.
And it was such a...
So you're saying it's like the Office episode where it's like the tea party and Dwight always has to say, yell somebody's name when they walk in?
Yeah, pretty much. It was such a funny moment because literally the day before, I looked at Tim and I was looking at like the Jennifer Hudson Spirit Tunnel thing. I looked at Tim, I was like, if you were on the show, how would you do? Because I wouldn't do well. Like, I would not do well.
I also said, no, it would not be well. I was like, I would be very me. I'd be very like, hey. And what did I do, guys? Exactly that.
And what did I do? Not well.
Please stop. Please. I don't want
Like,
this. I don't
here's
want
the
this.
thing, the funny thing to me in my brain for what was happening, because we were trying to figure out where to go for lunch, and before we walked through the first time, I think they just caught a glimpse of us and started clapping immediately, and I knew that wasn't the right way to lunch. But I couldn't stop us because I was like,
well, they
in my
started.
mind, I'm like, we're supposed to go that way, but they're clapping, so I guess we're just gonna walk and keep going and see what happens.
I want to hear
that was
about
good.
Donkey Kong. I want to hear about lunch, and I want to hear about the rest of the games you played. But first, I want to tell you about the Kinda Funny membership. $10 a month gets you more than 80 episodes ad-free of our content, plus a daily dose of me and a podcast I do in my car called Greg Way. It's also a video. Don't sweat it. You can pick up the membership on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, patreon.com/kindafunny, of course, Apple and Spotify. But right now, you are not using your membership benefits. So here's a word from our sponsor.
This episode's brought to you by Lost Skies. What would you do if you woke up and the world around you was now floating high in the clouds? Lost Skies is the new open-world survival-like that puts the power of exploration and choice in your hands. Use the physics-based grappling hook, glider, and your own custom airship to traverse the remains of this fractured world and uncover its mysteries. You and up to 5 friends will harness the power of ancient technology to survive the hostile islands that scatter the horizon and the threats that lurk in the sky itself. The battles are intense, so it's up to you to build a skyship to shelter you in fierce storms and take the battle to gigantic monsters. Want to take a break from fighting in the skies? Use the intuitive island creator and share your builds with the community. Head over to Steam and wishlist Lost Skies today and discover what's lurking beyond the horizon. This episode's brought to you by Monaco 2. Gather your crew, plan your heist, and let the chaos unfold in Monaco 2. Return to Monaco, a city teeming with excellent scores and gullible marks ripe for getting parted from their prized possessions. Go it alone or tackle heists as a team of 4 with online and local co-op. Just remember, even the best laid plans can blow up in your face, so you'll have to stay on your toes. Monaco 2 is the sequel to the cult classic Monaco. What's yours is mine that expands on every aspect of the game. New characters bring unique abilities and playstyles to help you escape the heat. And with new modes and procedurally generated levels, every run is full of surprises. The heist is on when Monaco 2 arrives on Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation on April 10th. Y'all know how important it is to wishlist these games. It helps the developers so much. So please wishlist Lost Skies and Monaco 2. This episode is brought to you by Rocket Money. You sign up for something, forget about it after the trial period ends, and then you're charged month after month after month. The subscriptions are there, but you're not using them. In fact, 85% of people have at least one paid subscription going unused each month. Thanks to Rocket Money, you can see all of your subscriptions in one place and cancel the ones you're not using anymore, and save more money. Rocket Money has helped multiple members of Kinda Funny learn that they're still paying for things they totally didn't even realize. You know who I'm talking about. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/kindafunny today. That's rocketmoney.com/kindafunny.
And we're back. One thing I have a question for you all about is this. What time does it open up that you can play games? And then what time were they going to kick you out? Like, how long were you able to mingle around this place?
So the direct was at 9,
Yeah.
and then it ended around 10. Right after that, we went to play
Doors
games,
open,
so around 10:15, and then they were going to kick us out like 7 p.m.
I think 7.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we had so much
Ample time.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And
Tim
you know,
couldn't find
obviously,
Welcome Park.
how these things go, it's very like, oh, in the beginning of like everyone like
Yeah,
figuring
yeah.
out what's going on, and it was like everyone's rushing and like whatever. But like I'd say like maybe 2 hours in, because like we had wristbands that were colored, so we had like different levels of like just try to groups just to cycle it and make sure there wasn't too many people at once. But like once it got to the point that every group had like done their like tour of everything, it was really kind of chill. Like I feel like at any moment we could have played any game we wanted towards the end of the day, which was very nice. And that meant I got to go back and play a insane amount of Mario Kart, which was awesome. And I played the Metroid demo again. It was awesome. It was very, very cool that we got that much experience with it.
Yeah.
But now, tell me about it. You walk into a room, you have permission to play Donkey Kong Bonanza.
Yeah. Oh, and immediately me and Roger are like, all right, we got to figure out how to record this Let's Play, right?
Yeah.
Like, all right, mic myself up again.
Yeah, so
Let's-
they take us. It's a very long hallway. They say, "Hey, go all the way to the end of the
To the
hallway,
last
right by
station.
the exit." Right.
Yeah.
That's
and again,
gonna
we're
be
the
it.
first people. I think I was the first press person to play Donkey Kong
for
Bonanza,
sure,
technically.
absolutely. It was to the point where I texted him and I was like, "There's Donkey Kong in a secret room. Find
I'm
the
playing
secret
Soul
room."
Calibur 2.
So I get there, I boot it up, I start playing, and like immediately I'm like, oh, this is exactly what I want. And I knew it was what I want when I collected the first. I think they are golden bananas.
Yes, they
Yeah.
Which especially
Did he do it?
Do the voice again, please.
Because they when you collect the golden banana, you then get a soundbite that says, "Oh, banana," and I'm like,
Fuck
let's
yeah,
freaking
we're
go.
so
They're giving
back.
me the harkening back to DK64 that I've wanted for so
I was
long.
laughing in my fucking car when you did it, and
Yeah.
then Roger's like, or one of you was like, by the way, that's what the game says.
Yeah.
You did like the
Well,
voice,
it's just
golden
us being
banana.
hyped.
It was that was just me. So I do that and like play through the demo again. Check out the Gamescast where we talk deeper about it. But I was delighted by the time I finished my gameplay with this. Right, it is the idea of you are playing as Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong is a hulk of a beast, right? And so they form the game all around environmental destruction to the point where you have a bunch of different surfaces that are breakable and have different properties to them, right? And so you have like weak surfaces. They start you off in a cave that has like dirt surfaces essentially. So I'm punching through everything.
Dirt surfaces.
Dirt surfaces, yeah. So I'm punching through everything really easily. But then we got to a section that has like more concrete surfaces and tougher surfaces. And like at one point during my demo, there's like an enemy that's flying in the air, and if you press a certain button as Donkey Kong, you can pick up a rock out of the ground and throw it at an enemy. And I press the button, and he doesn't do it, and then the enemy kills me. And I looked at the person that was demoing with me, and I was like, "What was the button to pick it up? Am I doing something wrong?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, it's this." And then he realizes, he's like, "Oh, you were standing on a more tough surface, so you had to hold it longer because it'll take you a second as Donkey Kong to actually like rip that thing out the ground." And I'm like, "Oh, you guys are really thinking about it." He showed me a different enemy that has like a concrete surface around him, and so to explode that, I had to find an explosive surface to then pull and then throw at him. And so like the destruction stuff and like the surface stuff is like a very heavy element of the game, which I think is really cool. But then also I think another thing to note, and the thing that has me doubly excited, is that this game in quite a few ways is Mario Odyssey coded, just in terms of how plentiful the golden bananas seem like they are and how discoverable they are and the ways in which they're discoverable, which looks like it's getting Greg's attention.
Oh, no, this game totally has my attention, which is why it was interesting and totally valid listening to Tim talk about it. But before we jump anywhere, on this track, you have a super chat about that. Thank you so many. There's so many super chats. We're going to get into them, don't worry. But this one right here, Zach Burns super chats and says, "To me, Donkey Kong Bonanza looks more like the Luigi's Mansion 3 of DK rather than the Odyssey of DK. The font and the UI is even the same."
Interesting. I've not played a Luigi's Mansion 3.
Yeah, again, I mean, this goes a lot to what I was saying in my thing of just like, I'm very interested by this game. And I think that like, if at any point I'm coming off date, I say this a million times in the other thing, like,
No, I don't think you were negative.
no,
It's just
I
more
can't
the
wait
fact
for
that
this. I think a 20-minute demo of this, it wasn't the best first impression for me. And I tried explaining it. It's more just like, I don't like the look of Donkey Kong. It looks plasticky and all that stuff.
But I mean, looking at it right here, I agree with Bless. I like
so
this
wet.
wet monkey.
Yeah,
All right.
That was
Cool.
me. I
Oh,
said
yeah,
that. Sorry,
yeah.
I love the wet
I
monkey.
remember the quote.
Yeah,
But even then, now watching more of the Treehouse stuff, watching other people's gameplay experiences of this, and like seeing what they did, people did so many different things than me. I think we touch on that. There's a lot to do here, and I don't think any single person had the same 20 minutes with this game. And the Odyssey stuff is very clear. I think the Luigi's Mansion stuff's apt just in terms of like really dedicating to a I don't want to call it a gimmick, a mechanic,
a style of play.
With Luigi's Mansion going all the way with the sucking and blowing. It is what it is. It does. And this is very much with the different levels of the how solid the surfaces are and how you can interact with all of them. But there's also an element of Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, not just in terms of like you can climb everything and all of that, but also in terms of how destructible everything is and how the physics play with each other. I forgot to say this in our preview, but there was a section I got to right before you meet Cranky Kong where there is like these like things in the sky, and mixing different elements, like throwing a rock at it, makes it hard. And then you can use it as a platform to then jump. And it's kind of like this cool mixing like physics with the different elements. And, you know, Nintendo's been playing with that stuff a lot, mainly in the Zelda games. But I think that what we're getting from Bonanza here is kind of a nice melding of a lot of what Nintendo has learned from across their different games and using it to kind of be a celebration of Donkey Kong throughout the ages of the different generations we've seen of Donkey Kong, both his look being more styled after the original, but then also in the Direct we saw more Donkey Kong Country 2D inspired levels, but then also this and the Banana and Donkey Kong 64 elements, but then also just kind of like hey, but also this is what a Switch 2, I said also 10,000 times that, what the Switch 2 can do. What a Switch 2 3D platformer can be that is open. You know, an Odyssey style open platformer.
That's the thing is I see the Luigi's Mansion 3 comparison, right? Or even I think in my brain I thought even Kirby and the Forgotten Land, and like Tim referenced Wario Land in the Gamescast that we did. I see it in those ways of that we're taking a character that we know that people know and love and finding a very specific lane for them to exist in, and not even inventing a lane for them to exist in that hopefully can be innovative and fun enough to where we can make a Bonanza 2, or we can continue on with this trajectory for DK to like have this be essentially like its own separate franchise in a new way again. And in the way that Tim's talking about redefining it for the Switch 2, I also think it's smart and cool because I was impressed technically by what's going on in this game, just as far as the amount of destruction and the different kinds of destruction that's happening, right? It does remind me of Breath of the Wild in terms of the physics stuff, and I think that's really cool in a way to show off a different way in which the Switch 2 is powerful. Hey, it's not just the fact that Cyberpunk looks okay now playing it on a Switch 2. It's the fact compared to what it would look like if you're playing on a Switch 1, right? But it's the fact that you are breaking shit in the game, in the Switch 2 is not fucking breaking as a hardware.
Barrett Courtney's in the bunker. What do you have to say, Barrett?
Donkey Kong, true Donkey Kong Poppy here.
How dare you?
I haven't been able to watch y'all's coverage, the stuff that y'all have like actually like sat down and recorded yet. I'm planning to tonight. Have you guys talked about the music at all?
So we did, and it's a couple things. One, we couldn't hear shit because we were out at the event, and so it's like, and on top of that, literally for my demo, the music straight up, the speaker stopped working a couple times and just cut out. So it was like, but I was trying to listen. I really enjoyed the music that they had in the Direct itself. But I said this in our previews, something, I don't even want to call it a criticism. It's an observation I have about this game. It feels very kind of house Nintendo at this point, where this music doesn't seem to have its own identity. It seems like if you kind of mix the Mario Kart stuff with Mario Odyssey with Donkey Kong-like music,
Kirby
but it's all just very like, this is what it sounds like. And what it sounds like is very high quality. Sure. So it's not a complaint, but it's not unique. And it's not David Wise, and it's not Grant Kirkhope, and we know that. And that to me, I'm like, we don't know who it is, but that's not Donkey Kong.
But then this is my thing, right? This is actually what I was going to drive to again in terms of what Donkey Kong Bonanza, where Donkey Kong Bonanza feels like it fits in, is that it's not Donkey Kong 64, right? It has references and stuff. I saw somebody post online and like they referenced the leader of the bunch and shit, right? And like there were references back again to original DK and DK Country in ways that let us like, okay, cool, you guys are shouting out the people that know. That said, right, this is a Nintendo 3D Donkey Kong. This is not a rare 3D Donkey Kong, right? So like I honestly, even though I love Grant Kirkhope's music and I love David Wise's music, those are some of the best soundtracks of all time. I think it works, and I'm actually happy that you don't have them coming back for this game because I think that sets expectations to a different place of what this thing is trying to be. Like this is a brand new.
It feels like a new beginning.
It's a new beginning for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, with the character design, this game blew me away. I'm not. Even though I am Donkey Kong Poppy now, it's been said on this podcast a few times.
How many Poppies can we have?
I'm the new one.
2025.
This game blew me away. It is my game of the show or whatever event. This is the game that anytime anyone was like, "Hey, how was the event?" Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong is the one that I'm going to be screaming about for a very long time, and I think it is the connection to Hulk's ultimate destruction. Like it is all about the destruction of things and. Also, the ability to just go through anything and go around any obstacle, right? When we had, at the ending, I think we showed it in the B-roll, there's like a little boss monster or whatever to get to like the sub-level that ends our demo. And we all did it, and that's how we got to the end of our demo. I was blown away when I was talking to the person that was doing the demo and showing it off, where he was like, you don't need to do that. Like that is like an optional way to get to the sub-level. You can go around it. There's like at least 3 different ways to get there. It feels very open, and I was constantly constantly just going downwards and just be like, okay, well, I'm just gonna dig down. I have time. Let me just dig around. And I would find a treasure chest. I would find a map. I would find something, a golden banana, right? I would find an entire new area that I didn't even know existed. This game is going to be really perfect for me. It's going to be a nightmare for IGN guides of just trying to find everything because you can destroy
Well, it's
entire
gonna be that. Like,
mountains.
you could do it this way, but you couldn't.
Exactly.
All the little the wiki ads.
Exactly. And I'm sure there's so many secrets of destroying an entire, mountain. I'm sure it gets you something, right? So it seems so multi-layered, and it was just fun to play, right? It was just fun to pound it out. It's fun to pound it out, bro.
Fun to tinker with, right?
Yeah.
Like it's one of those games where as soon as you just have the controller in your hand and you have a space to fuck around, you're just breaking shit.
I was just smiling, man.
Yeah.
This Donkey Kong, what a cool
It's
Donkey
like the
Kong.
inverse of what you have with Mario, where it is about jumping and like jumping off the walls and like climbing up trees and doing all that shit. This is break the environment, and it gives you that toy feel, which Nintendo does very well. It's that thing that you just want to play with. And so, Donkey Kong was fun.
One comparison I didn't make that I was kicking myself last night when I thought about it is like breaking everything feels like Minecraft.
Yeah.
Where you're just kind of like they're able to like fuck around with, and I say that as somebody that has had very limited experience with Minecraft, but when I do play, you're just kind of walking around, you're able to just like dig through all that stuff, and this game just does that. Like everywhere you can go. And I thought the control scheme was very inspired of having the jump on the right face button, but then the up, left, and down face buttons correspond to Donkey Kong breaking up, left, or down. It just made sense.
I think the thing that pulled it together for me was not only that, but also when you walk into a wall and him just climbing, it's seamless, right? It is just aggressive.
The game looks gorgeous.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. And it just he feels heavy. He feels strong.
For me, it reminds me of the Geomod technology from Red Faction, except this time they actually built the game around it, right? Like Red Faction, you didn't really have to use any of the
People have
Geomod
been
shit.
making the joke all week. Red Faction Gorilla.
Oh, that's really fucking good. I didn't hear that one. But yeah, it's that. Except here's a game that actually functions around that mechanic, and I cannot wait for this shit.
Yeah, as somebody who has never connected with a Donkey Kong game, you know what I mean? They've just never been my jam or whatever. Plus, not having the Nintendo nostalgia. This one I look at, I'm like, oh, this looks awesome. And I think part of it is the fact that it looks like the Odyssey team, and I loved Odyssey so much. But then, the interchangeability. Listen to you guys talk of like making. You said at one point like you're making like concrete cuffs or whatever to bush through this stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that sounds great. I want to see that exploration of what it is.
Absolutely.
What else?
I can't wait to play more. I'm hopeful that extended impressions will change for me.
So after that, me and Roger came out of Donkey Kong. Oh well, it was
Changed
funny,
men.
Hey,
Came out changed men.
but there was a funny thing that happened where
Yes.
So the reason why there was nobody at the Donkey Kong Bonanza stations is because they designed it to be the way out of the event. So
now you're fish going upstream trying to get out.
Yeah, which wasn't really even like that, right? Like we could have just gone back through the hallway. But the person that ran the demo for me was like, "Oh, you can grab a backpack if you want." And I was like, "Oh shit, a backpack!"
And then I was like, "No, I don't think we need it. We're gonna be careful." He's like, "No, I need a backpack." I'm like, "Okay, cool."
To be clear, right? It was mainly the thing of like Roger was like, "Oh, just get a backpack later." I was like, "Well, it's gonna be nice to just have something in case I want to carry things." And so I go and I'm like, "Hey, can I get a backpack?" And they're like, "Yeah." And then like they like put a thing to my my wristband
to cut the wristband
and
off.
I thought for some reason, just not thinking through it, I thought they were like gonna punch a hole through it. And then I was like, "Oh, they're gonna punch a hole to see that I've already gotten a thing." And then they cut off the wristband, and I was like,
Your powers are gone.
"Yeah." I was like, "Oh, I don't want to leave. I just want to."
I'm so scared.
I was
And they're
so
like, I'm sorry. Once it's cut, it's cut.
Here's the thing, if it was any other company, I wouldn't have been scared. It's
Yeah,
the fact that it's
yeah,
Nintendo, and it's the fact that the GDC thing happened to me just a few weeks where I couldn't get into the GDC awards because I didn't have the right badge. Like I was like, oh no, I'm not gonna be able to play the rest of the games. I want to play the rest of the games.
Hilarious.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, like I want to go back, and they're like, oh yeah, that's fine. All right,
And
cool.
they took away the backpack as they're heading.
They
into
took
you,
back
and
the
you're like,
hand-
I want to keep on going. You're like, okay.
Then, yeah, I want to keep on going. And then they took the backpack away, and I was like, all right, cool. Now I just have a cut wristband, but it's fine. Put it in my pocket. And I was like, hopefully nobody asked me questions.
They didn't.
Thankfully, nobody asked me questions because my girl T had me. You know?
Girl T.
Shout out to T.
Go get tea. Go get tea.
Yeah, that's
She literally was like, if anyone gives you problems, send the T's way.
Yeah. But then, me and Roger make our way back upstream, go back into the big room with all the games. And then it really is like, we look at each other and we're like, all right,
What do we do?
Let's just play games. Like, let's find the stations that are free. And so it is Tim, playing his games. I think he went to Bonanza after we did, but then went and played some more things.
We played some Street Fighter.
I played some Street Fighter 6. I played, talk about the third-party stuff, right? For me, it was Street Fighter 6 and Cyberpunk being the games I checked out. Roger checked out Yakuza 0.
Yeah.
My third-party impressions from Street Fighter and Cyberpunk. Street Fighter 6 looks like how it kind of looks on the Steam Deck, which is not great, but not the worst, right? It is just Street Fighter 6, but a little bit more foggier than you're used to on
You're
PS5.
going to hear that a lot. It looks like the Steam Deck.
Yeah, it looks like, I think that's a good thing. But like, then I played Cyberpunk 2077, and I was actually pretty blown away by how much they retained the look and style. Like, regardless,
You said it was a recommendable version, right?
yeah, perfectly recommendable would be the way that I would describe it, right? Where I'm playing it, and when I'm looking around the environment, when I am talking to characters in dialogue, I'm like, yo, I would actually play the game this way. Which is more than I would say for a lot of third-party AAA Switch stuff,
Sure.
where it is like, oh man, this is the bootleg version of Mortal Kombat, or oh man, this shit looks kind of fugly. No, like Cyberpunk looked great. It had motion blur at first, and I turned off the motion blur, and it's like, all right, cool. This is seemingly 30 frames per second of just me eyeing it, and
The game was in development for 7 days. They said
What?
no.
7 weeks. 7 weeks. It might
I
have
don't, yeah, I was like, I don't
7
think-
weeks.
Are they fucking gone?
Either way, it was like insane.
Yeah.
Where CD Projekt Red was just like, yeah, we got this working like super quick.
Yeah, and they also said that it's 30 to 40. They're still working on it, but they're hoping for a 40 FPS mode as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And yeah, I would like perfectly recommendable. Played through a full mission, and I was like, yo, this is fucking awesome. And yeah, that then led into Roger's Yakuza 0 gameplay.
Yeah.
And I
Wait,
don't know
hold
if
on,
you
one
wanna-
real quick. I saw from there, and I never heard it. Can you do mouse with Cyberpunk?
Oh, I didn't try
okay.
that. Yeah, they have a pro controller.
Got it.
And if I asked them, they would have told me to go to Nintendo.com.
And then I booted right next to it was Yakuza 0 Director Cut, which is has English VO, which is new for Yakuza 0. It has some new cutscenes, and it has a multiplayer mode, a 4v something, whatever. It's just a beat 'em up thing with a bunch of your friends. The only new thing that I played in this was the English VO. Then the demoist was like, "Hey, if you really try really hard, you can get to the Majima section if you just go really fast." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And I like speed run this thing in like 5 minutes. Like I'm there, and then it's just thanks for playing. And I'm like, okay, so there was no Majima area.
Amazing.
But whatever.
It's just looks you, Nintendo.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where Majima is. The English VO is whatever. I mean, I think it's fine. I'm not a huge fan of the voice acting for Kiryu. That's just a general complaint. But it's fine here for new players if you want to play the English stuff. But
Is it the same voice actor for the
Yeah.
recent Like a Dragon? Okay.
yeah, exactly. I think he sounds a little too young. It works here because he is younger. But still, I'm just not a huge fan of it. Besides that, the game does not look good. I don't think it looks great. It feels lesser than the Steam Deck. They say it's 4K 60, which I don't doubt the 60 FPS. It ran fine, but the 4K was definitely from a very it was maybe less 720p or something. It was very jaggedy. Like everything looked like it was DLSS up-resed in performance mode. It did not look crisp or like the way that I want Yakuza 0 of all things to run. Like if we had Cyberpunk right next to it, right? Cyberpunk
Yeah.
looked really
Cyberpunk
good.
looked good.
It looked good, and of course it didn't look native 4K or whatever, but it looked good. It looked passable for this game. Like this game should have looked really good. This game should have looked like the preferred version of playing Yakuza 0, and I would recommend if you have a Steam Deck, just play it on there.
You know what did look good though?
What?
Breath of the Wild.
Tell me about it. Or did you play
Tears
Tears?
of the Kingdom.
Not Breath of the Wild. Tears of the Kingdom, Nintendo Switch 2
Which
edition.
Tears of the Kingdom was one of the only games that we got to play in multiple modes. Like every
Oh,
demo
yes.
kiosk was kind of like this game is on TV with a Pro controller. This game is on TV with Joy-Cons. This one is handheld only. This one was handheld and TV with a Pro controller.
And let us play like the opening section of Tears first, right? Where on the handheld, we do the thing where you get out of the cave in the sky, you hop down, do that little cool title sequence, and then land in the water, and then like run around for a little bit. And yeah, looked fantastic. And then played some on the TV where you get to kind of choose where you want to. They had 5 different saves that had 5 different locations. And so I put myself just out in the random open world, ran around a little bit, just did random Tears of the Kingdom gameplay. And I was like, I love how this looks. Like
it was nice.
Yeah, it was nice, and it was also one of those bummer things where like one of my first inklings was to jump into one of the like big holes in the ground that leads to the depths, and so I went to one, and as soon as I tried, fucking demo ends, and it's like thanks for playing. I'm like, you motherfuckers, know what to do. You motherfuckers knew exactly what I wanted to do. But yeah, that was definitely very impressive as far as that jump from Switch 1 to Switch 2.
Sure.
Third party wise, Hades 2. It's Hades 2, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, it ran flawlessly, looks beautiful, and I don't remember if I played any other third party. I don't think I did.
Was there any other third party stuff? I mean, I guess it must.
We didn't play Hogwarts, right?
Yeah, we didn't play
Split
Hogwarts.
Fiction.
We didn't play Split Fiction.
I don't know if anybody played
Yeah,
Split
that's
Fiction.
true.
I didn't
really
see
don't
one
think a
person
single
playing
did.
Split
That's
Fiction.
funny. But yeah, then on the first party side, there was a bunch of other stuff that we didn't get to talk about yet. I got to play Kirby and the Forgotten Land, the new StarCraft.
yeah.
Obviously, y'all know how much I love that game. Getting to play more of it is very exciting to me. This is seemingly a whole new world. And
Don't you dare close your eyes.
Exactly. And it was awesome. New music, new mechanics, like new abilities at least. This one you could get like this like spring Kirby. It was super fun. Game looks amazing. It's just the same game, but now it's in 4K, baby. And that's really all you really need from that. But had a great experience with that. Can't wait to play it. And I liked that. At the end of the day, we haven't talked about this much, but how the Nintendo Switch 2 editions are being handled.
Yeah.
It's kind of like best case scenario for me of most of the games get a free upgrade for just the resolution and frames per second and refresh rates and stuff like that. But then there's also going to be a handful of games that get new modes and new content. I'm like, oh wow, that's awesome. And we don't know full pricing details on all of it, so it might not all be the best news ever. But so far, none of it is bad news in my opinion. From what we've seen, and I think that the variations we're seeing of what the modes are adding has been interesting. And I think Mario Party is probably the best example of what we actually got to play in terms of new stuff. We played the Mario Party Jamboree TV mode.
It's like Bowser's TV or something like that.
Something like that.
I think it's just Jamboree TV.
Is it just
Jamboree
Jamboree? Well, Jamboree
TV,
TV, I think, is the whole package, isn't it? I can look
Yes,
it up.
the whole package.
Yeah.
The plus Jamboree
But we
TV.
played the Bowser mode specifically.
Yeah, plus
Jamboree
Jamboree
TV.
Yeah.
And so we got to play this, which was classic demo at an event situation of cameras and mics and stuff are just simply not going to work great because there's freaking red lights and colored lights everywhere that are getting in the way. And
there you are.
We're playing this game that we're popping up on the TV in little pipes, and it, like Roger, who was the cameraman, getting fucking picked up, and they're putting him in pipes. Like it was like utter chaos, but like I think that's kind of the point.
Yeah.
You know, the camera didn't look great, but I think that's kind of the point.
Yeah, and
like,
but it was
it's for the
impressive.
laughs.
It was impressive though because it picked me up and I was way to the side. So it's FOV.
It's a
huge,
wide camera.
huge.
And I didn't catch this until reading up on everything. The USB-C just allows other webcams.
Yeah.
So you don't need this Nintendo camera.
I wonder how that's gonna work.
Other cameras.
That's wild.
Put my cam link in there.
So
Did you
it's
guys
like
see
that's
the
pretty
Piranha
cool.
Plant?
The Hori one. Yeah.
Amazing.
That's awesome. But yeah, Mario Party was super fun in a dumbass gimmicky way, you know?
Sure.
I don't know if this is going to be like a actually, I know for a fact it won't be a long-standing thing we do that much, but I think for what Mario Party is, like, this is a cool addition, and I do think shows off the Switch in a fun way.
We gotta talk about Dragon Drive.
We do.
Oh yeah,
Let's
we
get
gotta
there.
talk about
That's my
Dragon Drive.
shit. That's my
But
shit.
okay, so Dragon Drive is the game, I would say the ARM successor in some ways of like, hey, let's really kind of like use what this system's abilities are, this being the mouse mode and the HD Rumble 2.
It's a 3v3 basketball game where everybody's in like, I don't know if they're calling them wheelchairs, but essentially they're wheelchairs that you're in, that you're using the mouse controls on 2 Joy-Cons to kind of push yourself forward. So you can push your two wheels, you can push your right wheel to turn left, push your left wheel to turn right. And us 3 played together against 3 of the Nintendo workers that were there. And I'm curious on what your guys' thoughts, because off the bat, I'm going to say, I had a fun time with this thing. More of a fun time than I even expected, but I don't know if you guys.
I walked in expecting like a fun enough time, and I walked out being like, "I will never play that again." And I did not like that time. It was too frustrating to do this over and over and over. And
pushing his wheels.
Oh yeah, I'm moving my hands. And it worked well enough, but I didn't see any use case where one, I would have a bunch of friends with me and tables in front of us and being able to do this, and two, I just wasn't having fun with the actual gameplay of it. Maybe I just not good at it. Maybe I just needed more time in it.
I was hooping.
Yeah,
I was hooping.
That's
I
fair.
don't know about you, but man,
I didn't have a good time.
I feel like I'm kind of in the middle of the
Yeah, 'cause
two
you were
of
not having a
both
good time in the
physically.
beginning.
Oh yeah, well no, it's not, so here's the thing. It's funny because it's like it controls the way you'd think it does, and I love that about when Nintendo things actually work. Right? I think that it was very, very responsive. I think that this is a great example of how good this mouse mode can be tied with HD Rumble. It felt great.
Yeah.
It really felt like there was a physical thing that you're working with, and you push both forward to go forward, you push both back to go back, and then you do exactly what you would think to go left or right, and it really worked well. But what Roger is talking about, my reaction was how absolutely insane how much movement they're
So
expecting
much
you
movement.
to do. It should be a thing of like, push forward and you're going forward. And it's not. You have to just keep going. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm never going to want to play this game for more than 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, it was absolutely incredible, the expectation of physical motion they're expecting you to do here. But then when we got into the actual game, not just the tutorial part, I was kind of having fun.
Yeah, I was having a good time.
And again, this reminds me of the Mario Party thing. Like, I think this will be a very funny, like 3v3, kind of funny Let's Play that we do, like stream. I don't think that I'm going pro in Drag and Drive, you know?
Yeah, how many times do you think you'd actually play this? You know?
I literally think it'll only be for a stream and never again.
Yeah, exactly.
But Bless, what about like you're higher on it? Do you see yourself?
I mean, I
potentially
don't
playing?
see myself going pro in Drag and Drive, but I do think it when we get our hands on it on the Switch 2, I think it's one that I'll boot up maybe for a week. I could see myself coming back to it and being like, all right, let's see if there's a leveling system, or let's see if there's like any sort of progression thing that I can chase after, and like see how far I can go with it. It's one.
Oh,
go
sorry,
for it,
real
go for it.
quick, because I forgot to mention this. Like, so you just do all the wheel stuff, but then when you throw the ball, you actually have to like do
And
the
you have to
throw.
shoot.
That's what was good.
was
That
awesome.
worked
It felt
really
very
well.
fun.
Yeah, being able to have your hands on the table and then put them up and then immediately have the ball and hoop, that was cool.
Yeah, my one thing with this is that you compare it to ARMS. ARMS when it came out, I believe was like a full price thing, right? Like was that the $60?
Yeah.
I hope they don't charge
That's
full
a
price
good
for this.
call.
This feels, at least from the demo that we played, we didn't see menus or anything, right? We just got a tutorial and a game, but it doesn't feel like it's jam-packed with stuff. Like, I don't get the vibe that this is supposed to be a full-fledged thing.
I get
can't
the
be right.
$15 to $20
Yes.
vibe from this. I can push 30.
Yeah, like
if it's
30
more than
is
that,
the most.
This is about to be 40. There's no way. There's no way this is less
I think
than
you're
40.
right. I think you're right.
I hope
and that's not good.
because I think that'll then be the death of it, right? Like even ARMS was the thing that was like ARMS. I think had more issues, but I don't. If that game came out for like $20 or something, I think that now we're cooking.
I mean, I'm saying this right now.
Yeah.
ARMS is a better video game than this.
I think I'm gonna have more fun with this than ARMS, at least for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
But
don't know.
yeah, no, I had a really good time with it. We'll see how it hits when it finally comes out. I don't think it's necessarily going to be the talk of the town, but I
Sure.
could see it having like a small audience that like
Yeah.
fucks with it and like will evangelize it in the way that like we do Gotham City Imposters or some shit like that.
Oh, Gotham City Imposters.
Damn, that was a
do.
pull. And I evangelized that.
We've spent so much time talking about software. I feel like you feel like you've been in a good spot.
Yeah, hold on. Let me see if there's anything we're missing because.
Was
GameCube.
Elden Ring there?
Oh,
No.
no Elden Ring. Yeah, we got to do the GameCube stuff. We did a full breakdown of that.
I love to hear, and the controller felt good.
Oh,
Springy
it's the
shit.
controller,
God,
man. It's the controller's awesome. The gameplay experience, I'm a little bit more mixed on. It's fine. I just wish they went further. It's another bummer where they announced a bunch of stuff afterwards, like the CRT filters, and there's going to be new modes. We didn't get to play with that stuff, and I'm like, I really would have liked to do that.
Sure.
But yeah, right now, the GameCube stuff for me is I'm so happy it's here. The games that they have shown off, including Mario Sunshine coming, so that's good.
Andy's
that,
excited.
that game's not lost to Nintendo times of if you didn't buy 3D All Stars, you're screwed. Happy it's here. Wish it was better.
I want to talk about the hardware. I know there's a whole hardware thing up there. One of the big questions I've seen is a super chat here from Phantom's Tempest. Does the Switch 2 LCD feel like a big downgrade from the OLED on the Switch 1? I love the OLED screen, and I'm surprised it took a step backwards. Tim, you are Mr. Screen, Mr. OLED. Yours is the opinion I think that speaks the loudest.
I go as far as saying loved this screen. I
Loved it.
think yes. I think that this the screen on the Switch 2 is more than good enough. I think it's great. It's not OLED. It is not. I said this in our breakdown, but every time I pick up my Switch 1 OLED edition and I boot up a game, every single time I go, ooh, in a good way. It hits me. Same way when I turn on my LG OLED TV and I'm playing a game, it's like, dang, dude, like this looks so freaking good. And this doesn't have that, but it is, I was saying before, the PlayStation Portal screen is not OLED, and it's very impressive.
Very
the
good.
color accuracy, the black levels, all of that stuff is very, very, very good. The resolution, all of that. And I, in my limited experience, feel like this is at least as good as the Portal, but I actually think with the HDR implementation that they have and seeing it in Mario Kart, which is where I had the most experience with the handheld mode of this game, because I don't think that there were many handheld experiences.
I
That we
think it was
got.
like that in Tears of
And
the Kingdom.
Tears. And Tears was stunning.
Yeah.
Like absolutely stunning. And how fast 120 frames per second. That's another thing above the Portal.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of things going to this that, yes, it's not OLED. Don't expect OLED. It's not. But I am very impressed with the screen, and to the point that I really, really thought, and y'all, this might be crazy, but I stand by it. I internally was preparing myself to potentially play some games on my Switch 1 OLED instead of the Switch 2.
Wow.
When if I was like, I'm going on a flight and I need to play, or I want to play Metroid Prime or whatever, it's like maybe I'm going to stick with the Switch 1 just for that use case, which is a common use case for me.
Sure.
And with this, absolutely not. Switch 1, I'm moving on.
And variable refresh rate. That's huge. That's huge.
Yeah, Raj and Bless, it looks good to you.
Yeah, it looked great to me.
And 1080p as well, which is very, very big.
Yeah, it's my virgin eyes look good. Yeah, it wasn't like it was like, oh my gosh, this looks so much. I couldn't tell. I was like, yeah, it looks good. Looks good.
I mean, I have a Switch OLED, right, and I love how the Switch OLED looks, but I almost view it as more of like a luxury thing of like making it pop that much more. But I think for the Switch 2 as the base, hey, we're doing this LCD screen. This is what it is. I think it looked fantastic, especially seeing Tears of the Kingdom.
This is an interesting one from Gene Sandoval in a super chat, and I think it might be a little bit hard because I don't think you spent that much time with any of the handhelds, but you moved around enough.
Sorry, real quick, can I stop you there? Because I
You can do
just
whatever you want.
sticking on
Do
this
whatever
here.
you want.
Chalk11 says, I thought he was going to say he was going to mod the Switch 2 once he gets it to have an OLED screen. I think this is like the best definitive thing I can say about the quality of the Switch 2 screen. The Takayudon's probably going to do an OLED upgrade version of the screen. I don't think I'm going to need to do it. I think that it's good enough that like even me, like for the upgrades and stuff, I don't think it's necessary.
Say that right now. They're gonna release that Ocarina remake, and then you're gonna do
it. I know you.
Want it. You're gonna get the
Wait a few
screwdriver
months.
out.
You're gonna be like, yeah,
Gonna bust out the
Roger, I'm gonna
hammer.
do it on my second Switch.
Well, second Switch, that's a different conversation. That's a different conversation.
Gene Sandoval super chats and said, did the system feel warm playing in handheld after a while? More importantly, how good was the pizza, Bless? Happy Friday, my dudes.
I like the pizza a lot. Roger's a hater though.
Yeah, you got ground beef on your fucking pizza. What's wrong with
Because
you?
Danny Pena took me to this place. I forget the name of the spot. It's right next to the Church of Scientology in New York. And
He's like, hey, we should swing in here too.
and Danny's like, just get whatever they have out. Like that's gonna be the best stuff. They didn't have just base pepperoni.
You could have asked. I'm sure they would have taken off the
but
ground
Danny
beef.
Pena said, get what they have out. And I
He
was
told
like,
you get ground beef on pizza.
He
said whatever was out.
Whatever was out.
We gotta have
and
a
I saw that,
conversation.
and I don't mind ground beef. I like ground beef, and I like pepperoni. So I was like, I'm gonna get ground beef pepperoni, and that shit
You
was
went
fire.
to New York City and you got ground beef on your pepperoni slice.
He made it. Talk to him. Talk to the guy that made it.
I don't
right,
understand.
Dude,
talk
their
to the-
bagels were insane, man.
Oh,
They're fucking insane.
New York bagels are fire.
Nah, they were great.
dude.
They were good.
What's the problem with New York pizza?
Shut the fuck up. I'm up now, Greg.
I go there and I get order. Well, you went to the wrong place. You ordered the wrong thing. Oh, so it isn't just New York pizza's great. New York bagels are great. Go anywhere.
I mean,
get
he was
New York
great. He
bagels,
liked
they're
it. He liked it. I'm just
He said it was fine, actually, is what he said there.
The pizza? I don't know. I love the pizza. That was great. It was
Tundra Boy has a question specifically about Mario Kart.
I think we skipped the other part.
Yeah, what was the other part?
Oh, did it get hot? Was the handheld hot?
We didn't hold it for that long.
That's my thing is no, in my experience, it didn't. We also did not get to play it that long. And the majority of the time we did play it was tethered to it was insanely tethered, which sucked because it made it very heavy. So our first interaction holding the thing was not accurate to the real experience of it. Later, when we got to actually just hold just the Switch, but it wasn't playing anything. Like when we actually got to naked hold the Switch 2, it was off. So it was like that felt, I'd say, exactly like the Switch 1. Pretty much in every way, it feels like holding the Switch 1 in terms of quality, buttons, all of it. Like the buttons feel exactly the same as Switch 1.
Yeah, that's what you guys are saying.
Yeah.
I have more super chats to run through before we get out of here, if that's good, if you guys have said the majority of what you want to say.
Yeah, I just want to go off of that. My biggest disappointment with the actual holding of the console and the way it feels, I needed real triggers. It is such a disappointment that this is the console that generation for Nintendo that we're going to get real Call of Duty games on it, and we just don't have a real trigger, and that just sucks.
Tim's going to buy third part after third part after third
No,
part.
I hate that that's the case, man. I was so
Because
excited.
the Rumble feels so good. I want these. I want these to be the ones that I play with. But man, I need a trigger.
That's the problem. My eternal struggle remains eternal. Like I feel like we are still going to have to make concessions between having the best Rumble and having actual controllers that feel good and buttons that feel good. It's rough.
Let me bring in a question and answer, but then kick it back to you for a question from me. Kayla writes in and says, has there been any talk about backwards compatibility with Switch 1 Pro controllers or even the GameCube controller adapter? Yes, Switch 1 Pro controllers work. They're doing that. A GameCube adapter, I assume?
I didn't see that on the checklist one way or another. I assume that it will work, though, because those are just USB.
So then my question coming back around then is, for your time with the Pro controller 2, did you go like, oh, I need to buy this, or are you going to be fine with Pro Controller 1s?
You'll be totally fine with Pro Controller
But I'm
1.
asking
Like
you,
absolutely,
if
I'm
there's
buying a
something-
Pro Controller 2.
Okay.
But I like the new things, and
Yeah.
and it feels the Pro Controller 2 feels substantially different than the Pro Controller 1. I don't think that the buttons or anything are better or whatever. It's just there's like a silky finish to it
Yeah,
that
you guys
is
talk about
very,
that, yeah.
very, very nice.
I like it. Yeah, I'm not getting it. At least at launch. I'll wait a little bit. I'm
getting
again,
it unless
for
they
fun.
charge like $150 or something for it.
How much is
Yeah.
it? Did
Yeah,
they put
it's
it out
already
there?
been announced. It
120?
was cheaper than the Joy-Con, so it's the $80 one then, I think.
That would make sense.
Joy-Cons are 90, the
yeah.
Pro Controller's 80. Correct me if I'm wrong.
tariffs,
We'll see what
man.
happens with these tariffs now.
I think it's an $80 controller. Like, there's definitely it's good. But having said that, like, I'm sticking with my DualSense even on Switch.
Cool.
Wow.
Tundra Boy has a question that I know we all had floating around out here. Any word on 200cc for Mario Kart World? It's hard to go back to the sluggish 150.
No, and man, let me tell you, I realized this week that I haven't played Mario Kart at under 150 ever. So it felt slow, and I thought it was 50, and it was 100, and
Yeah.
I can't wait for 150. But no, nowhere than 200.
Okay.
I'm about to be real upset if there's no 200. Real upset.
Play like a normal person, you psychos. You know what I mean?
No, you get better.
There's a lot of jokes about stars.
Oh,
in the
also,
bank. Yeah,
sorry,
go ahead.
Pro Controller, the embedded paddle buttons.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the back pedals. Yeah.
Awesome. Love them. They feel good. They're where I want them to be, and they're not intrusive.
Yeah. None of them were programmed to any of the demos that
No.
we played. At least I tried pressing them. They didn't work.
But I also will say, and I know I'm not alone in this, there's something about the fidget nature of having them.
Yeah.
Where since back in the day, even with like PS2, like when we're just in the middle of something, I'd hit L3 and R3, just click, 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 just to, like in between things, just because I like having something to do.
Yeah.
And I often find with Steam Deck or with a lot of different controllers I use, I might not even be using the paddles for actual gameplay elements, just kind of clicking them. And these are very, very good for that.
Oh, okay, good. A little fidget spinners. on
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
Final question from the chat, super chat over here comes from Riley21, who says, just congratulations to the team for an amazing week of coverage. Definitely hype and terrified of the future of the Switch.
Hell yeah.
You guys kill it out there.
Thank you.
Is there any, usually we make fun of, on the way back, did anybody do something stupid? Did Roger get slapped on a plane?
No, someone was kicking the back of my chair, and I was like, this might be the second moment. What if I get slapped? If I get slapped on a plane with Tim, they might be like, oh shit, he deserved it. You know what I mean? Like, so I can't get slapped again.
We did
so
see
no.
a car upside down.
Oh yeah,
my
we
God.
did see a
On our
car
way
upside
to the
down.
Can you send that?
Fuck yeah. Let me see if I can get it. Really
I can
quick.
start doing I'll start doing the outro. Remember, everybody, that this has been the Kind of Funny Gamescast. Each and every weekday, we come to you with the biggest topics in video games, whether they be previews, reviews, or things we need to talk about. If you like that, of course, get the Kind of Funny membership. Remember, we're a live talk show network. You get multiple shows each and every day. You already got Games Daily, of course, talking about the tariffs. You already got this, talking about that. You got Snowbike Mike doing whatever the hell he's doing over there as they get ready to
shit.
drop into Verdansk. That doesn't happen without your
Legends of the Hidden
support.
Temple Mike over here.
Patreon.com/kindoffunny, YouTube.com/kindoffunny games, Apple and Spotify. Nick's, this is a note, it's a post-it note that I've been handed. It says, it's time for Dance. Stop talking about Nintendo, Nick. We are done, everybody. Calm down, of course. Thank you for your support. Remember, like, subscribe, share. YouTube.com/kindoffunnygames. Twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. YouTube. I already went through it all. Remember, if you are watching on YouTube, there won't be a Verdansk stream. Instead, it will be.
Then add the-
It's a Twitch
add the
exclusive
video.
since they're going long. Chris Anka is here. They're dropping. And you are looking at a car flipped upside down on the highway.
Yeah.
How does that even
Fucking
happen?
insane, dude. We don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
we have
yeah,
theories.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was crazy to see that. It seemed like everyone was okay.
Yeah, everyone was
But man,
Be careful out there.
careful out
New
there.
York be wildin'.
Everybody get ready for a huge Call of Duty Warzone stream as Chris Anka regrets his decision to come visit us in San Francisco. If you're a YouTube person, you can catch it later. If you're listening on podcast service, go check out that YouTube VOD. And until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.
Oh.